cloud, I guess. Yeah, so now I'm recording. Hi, everybody. I'm going to share the screen and we're going to get into the PowerPoint. And this. Okay. It's going to come up anytime now. So getting into chakra and hormone balancing. So I added this part because I think it's important to sort of know how this came about. I have two very distinct sides to me, and we're going to talk astrologically speaking. I am a Virgo, and Virgos tend to be meticulous, critical, very intelligent, capable, detail-oriented, analytical, perfectionist, skeptical, cautious, calculated, and hardworking. And like for me, sometimes it feels like I was born under the sign of the pocket protector. Like it's just so nerdy, right? And I love it. And I'm such a Virgo. Like my sun sign is in Virgo, and then my rising sign is in Virgo. I'm very, very Virgo. But I just found out about moon signs a couple years ago and found out that my moon, because there's always been this war in me of like, I am a Virgo, but I'm so emotional. Like I am a very emotional, very feeling Virgo. And so I found out that my moon sign, which is more of your emotion sign, is actually in Cancer. And your Cancer is intuitive, intense, passionate, generous, mysterious, affectionate, sentimental, imaginative, empathetic, and compassionate, which drives the Virgo part of me absolutely nuts. Like the Virgo will get very frustrated with how emotional my Cancer side is, and my Cancer will get its feelings hurt from the Virgo. So this presentation sort of came about because it's both sides of it. The chakras are more of an intuitive, energetic, more etheric, esoteric concept, whereas the endocrine system is very scientific. Like this is what your endocrine system does, no questions asked, right? So it's kind of the marriage of who I am is what the chakra and endocrine system working with the essential oils. And the essential oils have definitely been able to marry those two sides of myself too. And so instead of feeling like frustrated that like the Virgo doesn't get the Cancer or the Cancer doesn't get the Virgo, I'm actually just a very, very well-rounded person. Very, very well balanced. So we're going to talk first about what is a chakra. A chakra is the center of energy. You can see on this diagram that it starts at your root chakra, goes up into your more your sexual organs, into your solar plexus is your root of self-power, into your heart, into your throat, into your third eye, and then your crown chakra. And we all have an aura, whether we can see it or feel it or not. The aura is made of a more subtle substance than the physical body is, but it doesn't make it any less real or any less physical. It is simply physical in a different way. The aura is affected by all kinds of things, the way we think, who we talk to, our environment, and so on, and very much our thoughts. So originating from Sanskrit, your chakra literally means a wheel, and it's by association with its function as a vortex of spinning energy that interacts with various physiological and neurological systems in the body. Chakras are energy systems within the body that help to regulate all its processes from organ function to the immune system and emotions. So very much what the endocrine system is as well. Subtle energies flow in and out of us through the chakras, also known as the psychic centers. The spine is like a stem, and the chakras are like flowers growing from the stem through the body and out a few inches in front of the body and the aura. Our thinking and our health are inextricably linked with the flow of energy through the chakras, which makes an understanding of them very important. So chakras, I think, have this, we think of them as being very new agey, right? And they're actually ancient. They originated in India between 1500 and 500 BC in the oldest text called the Vedas. The Vedas are the earliest Sanskrit literary records and the most ancient scriptures of Hinduism. So to me, they're basically the first documented history of human beings and humanity. So the purpose of the chakras is that they each correspond to specific organs, as well as physical, emotional, psychological, emotional, and spiritual states of being, and influence all areas of our life. Within the chakras is prana, or shakti, or chi, or whatever you think of as that, the energy that runs through all of us. And it's the ultimate pure healing energy that's all around us and within us to keep us healthy, happy, and vibrant. So again, whenever I talk about chakras, I feel this like whole body sensation of, but it's also this very esoteric kind of, I can't touch my chakras. You can't necessarily see them. So what is the endocrine system? The endocrine system is a network of glands that secrete chemicals called hormones to help your body function properly. Hormones are chemical signals that coordinate a range of bodily functions. Your endocrine system controls your growth and development, your homeostasis, which is your internal balance of body systems that keeps us not dead, metabolism, reproduction, a response to stimuli, stress, and/or injury. So here are all the different glands that we have in our endocrine system. Our endocrine system isn't just about our sexual organs, although we sort of think of that whenever we think of hormones. We think of PMS and we think of the different things related to our sexual organs, but it's so much more than that. So here's a little diagram of how the endocrine system and the hormones kind of link, or the chakras in the endocrine system link up. So the Muladhara chakra is connected to your adrenals. And this is the only chakra that didn't line up physically. Your adrenals are actually right above your kidneys, and your root chakra is right at your tailbone, and it points downward. So those were the only ones that didn't link up physically speaking. The next one, the second chakra, the Svadhisthana, is connected to your gonads and your sexual organs. The Manipura chakra, your third chakra, which is like your center of self, is connected to your pancreas. Your Anahata chakra, which is your heart chakra, relates to your thymus. Your Vishuddha chakra, which is your throat chakra, your chakra of communication, is your thyroid and parathyroid. Your Ajna chakra is your third eye, which is related to your pineal gland. And oftentimes your pineal gland is talked about as your third eye. And your Sahasrara chakra is your crown chakra, and it's connected to your pituitary gland and your hypothalamus. So again, they really linked up in terms of where they are physically in the body. So essential oils, we're going to talk about essential oils now and their effect on physiology. They can absorb into your cellular tissues. They are lipid soluble. So they can actually go inside of the cells, unlike any kind of synthetic medications that get stuck outside of the cells and can just be in your bloodstream. The essential oils can actually absorb into your cellular tissue. They have specific cellular targets. So what this means is that, for example, oregano can target viruses, and it can go into a healthy human body or into an unhealthy human body. And if there are viruses in that body, they will still target that virus inside of the body, whether the physical body is healthy or not. They are also biologically active. They have direct interaction with receptors and enzymes. So that means that they can actually trigger our receptors in our endocrine system, and that they will trigger and interact with our enzymes. And they provide cell signaling, so which will help govern basic activities of cells and coordinate our cells' actions. So they can talk to and interact with and have a huge amount of influence over our cells. And then they have a really small molecular size and weight, so they can cross through your blood-brain barrier. They have tried to synthesize the same thing just to be able to treat people with blood-brain barrier issues, they can't come up with a molecule small enough to pass through without injuring the blood-brain barrier. So oils are able to do that really easily. First of all, because they are lipid soluble. Second of all, because they're very, very small. There are 40 million trillion molecules in one drop of essential oil. And then they also help to increase oxygen into our brain. So that's what they do physically. What they do for us emotionally and how they work on our etheric body is that they have really high frequencies, which can help to stimulate an increase in energy within our center of our brain. There's a lot of different studies on frequencies, and we're always sort of trying to get our vibrations and our frequencies up. We feel better when we have a higher frequency. We feel crappy when our frequencies are lower. Smelling activates our limbic system. So we've all had that experience of smelling something and immediately going back to a memory or going back to an emotion. So we know that our sense of smell is very, very connected to that limbic system. And it can help us to connect into our past fear and past traumas. And then it's really in the releasing of these past traumas and the metabolizing of our emotions that we're finally free of those emotions. Otherwise, they sort of drive us through our life. So, and historically, essential oils have always been used to connect to spiritual reality. People recognize that, oh, this is really helping me find that deeper connection through my meditation or through these different pathways to spirituality, and essential oils have always been one that they kind of rely on. So we're going to get into more specifics about the chakras and attached to the different glands. So your root chakra, again, is connected to your adrenals. Again, your adrenals are right above your kidneys. So when I talk about how to use the essential oils, especially with the different endocrine glands, I usually recommend using them topically and just rubbing the oil directly on the organ that you're sort of trying to, and obviously you can't like go inside your body and rub it directly on the organ. You'll have to rub it on the outside of your body above where the organ is. So your functions of your Muladhara are security and safety, survival, basic needs, food, sleep, shelter, physicality, your physical identity and aspects of yourself. It's very grounding, support and foundation. Your adrenals contribute to your fight or flight response, which is survival mode. Produce stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, and it regulates how the body converts fat, proteins, and carbohydrates to energy, regulates blood pressure and cardiovascular function. So our adrenals definitely are what are helping us survive. They are taking the food and converting it to us. They're taking food and converting that energy into the energy that we can use to survive. And it helps to regulate our immune response and suppress inflammatory reaction. Again, all functions that very much are about our survival. So the two together, they are linked to our survival, our fight or flight response. You can notice imbalances in the chakra are going to come up as excessive negativity or cynicism, as an eating disorder, anxiety disorders, fears and nightmares, greed and avarice, illusion, excessive feelings of insecurity, living in survival mode. So if you have any of these things going on, you're probably out of balance in your root chakra. Your adrenals, you'll notice an imbalance if you're slow to start in the morning. You have cravings for salty or sugary snacks. You have a low sex drive. You're fatigued in the afternoon but get a second wind in the evening. You can't stay asleep. So, and I'll notice too with adrenal imbalance that we're like narcoleptic at 3 to 5 in the afternoon. Like it's just impossible to stay awake at that time. And then 3 to 5 in the morning, like wide awake, ready to go. And it's just, I think the cortisol levels get completely shifted. And it takes a little bit of attention to bring them back to balance so that you have that cortisol release at 3 to 5 in the afternoon when you actually need it, and then a sort of a relaxation from 3 to 5 in the morning. You'll have dizziness when standing up quickly. This can also be related to dehydration. You'll have afternoon head tension, blood sugar issues, chronic inflammation. Your nails are weak. You're often moody, difficulty losing weight. So those are all the things that, and if you're noticing, both sides of this, then definitely both your chakra and your adrenals are off balance. So supportive oils for this, and this is just where your adrenals are located, is above your kidneys. So again, anytime you're using these oils, you can put the oils in your hands, rub your hands together, and just rub them across the top of your kidneys, which is sort of at the place where your waist gets thinner is kind of where your kidneys are. So basil is the oil of renewal. Lemongrass is the oil of cleansing. Geranium is the oil of love and trust. Grapefruit is the oil of honoring the body. Rosemary is the oil of knowledge and transition. Neroli is the oil of shared purpose and partnership. Vetiver is the oil of centering and scent. Ylang ylang is the oil of the inner child. Endocrine is the oil of vitality and transition. And Motivate Blend is another really good one for the adrenals. So again, I picked the oils based on how supportive they are to our endocrine system. So these are all oils that are very, very supportive to the adrenals. I have a friend who was using basil and lemongrass and having amazing success with them. And she's like, this is the best. I love these, but I can't sleep if I diffuse them at night. And it's because they are so supportive and they actually help to boost our cortisol levels. So she was actually keeping herself awake because she was boosting them at the wrong time. So basil and lemongrass is what you use from that 3 to 5 p.m. period when you're narcoleptic. Rub a little bit of that over your adrenals and it'll give you a little boost. But don't diffuse it at night. You're going to want to diffuse something that's more relaxing. Vetiver would be a great one to diffuse at night, as would ylang ylang. Those would both be really supportive at nighttime and would help to relax your body. And then as you can see, just from what emotions these oils tap into, they're also very, very supportive for that first root chakra. So the second chakra is the Svadhisthana, the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra, it's located right where your sexual organs are. And then the gland that's connected to that is your ovaries, or if you're a dude, your testicles. The functions of your Svadhisthana are they control your emotions and your feelings, relationships and relating, expression of sexuality and sensual pleasure, the feeling of the outer and inner worlds, creativity, fantasies, again, all things that we really relate to in our sexuality. And ovaries are our sexual organs. They secrete estrogen and progesterone. They produce eggs. Estrogen helps with breast development, fat distribution, development of reproductive organs, and progesterone prepares the body for pregnancy. All about fertility. So these are all about your sex and your emotions, and especially the emotions that come up around like your time of the month that have to do with your hormones fluctuating. So imbalances can show up in your chakra as uninspired creatively. You have addictive behaviors, fear of change, depression, you're ruled by your emotions, you feel numb or out of touch with yourself and how you feel. You have an overindulgence in fantasies and sexual obsessions, a lack of sexual desire or satisfaction, and you feel stuck in a particular feeling or mood. You're going to see your imbalance through your ovaries and gonads as lack of estrogen is going to be vaginal dryness, night sweats, painful sex, brain fog, recurrent bladder infections, feeling lethargic, depressed, and having hot flashes. Too much estrogen is going to show up as feeling puffy and bloated. You'll have rapid weight gain, breast tenderness, mood swings, heavy menstrual bleeding, feel anxious or depressed, have migraine headaches, cervical dysplasia, insomnia, brain fog, gallbladder problems, weepy, and emotional. And then an imbalanced progesterone is going to be PMS, insomnia, unhealthy looking skin, painful breasts, stubborn weight gain, cyclical headaches, anxiety, and infertility. And your estrogen and progesterone levels definitely influence each other. So how can we support these two things? First of all, these little stars over this woman's belly are her ovaries. My husband really wanted me to point that out. He's like, what are the stars? I don't get it. It's like, those are your ovaries. Your neroli oil is the oil of shared purpose and partnership, which can definitely help sexually. Jasmine is the oil of sexual purity and balance. Clary calm is the oil of vulnerability. Clary sage is the oil of clarity and vision. Sandalwood, oil of sacred devotion. Thyme is the oil of releasing and forgiving. Geranium, oil of love and trust. Again, all of these are so good for us in relationships and for having clear sexual boundaries. Grapefruit is the oil of honoring the body. Ylang ylang is the oil of the inner child. Frankincense is the oil of truth. And you'll see frankincense come up, I think, on almost every single chakra and every single organ. So if for some reason you only want to get one oil, frankincense would be the one to get. Whisper is the oil of femininity. It's a blend. Copaiba is the oil of unveiling. Fennel is the oil of responsibility. DDR prime is the oil of transformation. And then the passion blend is really great for helping to support your ovaries. And again, so the way you can kind of use this is to sort of pick out where you're feeling imbalanced, either in the chakra or in the gland, and kind of think about what's going on and pick an oil that has to do with clearing that emotionally. So if you find that you're feeling really, really vulnerable, and that's what's sort of disrupting your balance, grab Clary Calm. And Clary Calm can be used every day. It's actually really great for hormonal balancing of your estrogen and progesterone cycles. You can just rub it straight across your abdomen or on your ankles. There's a point that is connected to your uterus and ovaries in your ankle. So the next one is your solar plexus, your manipura, and that's connected to your pancreas. The function of manipura is your will and personal power, taking responsibility for one's life, taking control, your mental abilities and your intellect, forming personal opinions and beliefs, making decisions and setting the direction of your life, clarity of judgments, personal identity and personality, self-assurance and confidence, self-discipline, and independence. So if you're feeling out of balance in any of these areas, and again, the imbalances don't necessarily have to be coming out of us, but if we're noticing that a lot of these are coming at us, that could also, it could be an imbalance in the other person, but it could also be an imbalance in ourselves that people are responding to us in these ways. And then your pancreas is your digestion, digestive enzymes. It breaks down sugars, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids. Again, very much the process of taking food and converting it to us, to who we are. It's the homeostasis of glucose in the bloodstream, glycogen and insulin. In sympathetic response, it releases energy in the form of glucose. So a sympathetic response is that fight or flight response. So when we have a surge and we need more energy, our pancreas is going to help us to take the food and turn it into energy that we can use to get away or fight. And then in our parasympathetic state, which is our rest and digest state, it stimulates the release of insulin and pancreatic juices. So basically, both of these are our ability to take in life. Imbalances are going to look like excessive control and authority over your environment and people, feeling of helplessness and irresponsibility, obsessing over minute details, being manipulative, misusing your power, low self-esteem, lack of clear direction, purpose, or ambition, difficulty making decisions and making plans or having a lot of ideas without finding efficient ways to realize them. So again, the imbalances don't need to be coming out of you, but they can be coming to you. So if you're noticing this in your relationships with other people, it could be an imbalance in them, but it could also be an imbalance in you, and it having anger or control issues. So your pancreas imbalances are going to look like a craving for sweets, irritableness if meals are missed, and becoming lightheaded, dependence on coffee, feeling shaky, jittery, or having tremors. You are agitated, easily upset, or nervous. You have a poor memory, blurred vision, fatigue after meals. Eating sweets doesn't relieve sugar cravings. Your waist girth is equal or larger than your hip girth. You have frequent urination, increased thirst and appetite. So again, if you're noticing a lot of imbalances on one side or the other, or you may notice that, yeah, these definitely correspond to each other. Oh, and you have difficulty losing weight. So the oils we use to support these, Slim and Sassy is the oil of inner beauty. Cinnamon is the oil of sexual harmony. Cassia is the oil of self-assurance. Geranium is the oil of love and trust. Grapefruit, honoring your body. Lemon, oil of focus. Rosemary, oil of knowledge and transition. Fennel, oil of responsibility. Frankincense, oil of truth. Coriander is the oil of integrity. Juniper berry is the oil of night. Marjoram, oil of connection. Ginger, oil of empowerment. And Compassion Blend has geranium, coriander, marjoram, and grapefruit in it. So again, you can just take one oil that you feel it really addresses the emotions that you are having come up around these imbalances, or you can kind of blend them. So if you find that you are needing to feel more self-assured and to have, to really honor your body, you could combine cassia and grapefruit. And again, all of these oils have been picked because of the support that they give to your pancreas and your blood sugar levels. Your heart chakra is your anahata, connected to your thymus. The function of the anahata is self-love, the awakening to spiritual awareness, forgiveness, and service, relationships, capacity to love, so having compassion and empathy, forgiveness and acceptance, transformation and change, the ability to grieve and reach peace, compassionate discernment, and your center of awareness, integration of insights. Your thymus is a gland that actually, well, it helps to support your immune system. The essence of immunity is the body's ability to recognize self and not self. It serves a vital role in the training and development of T cells, which are our killer cells that are the ones that are activated when we are feeling unwell. And it slowly shrinks from the onset of puberty and throughout adulthood. So our thymus is one that's really, really working from childhood up through puberty and then sort of slows down through adulthood. So these two are very much about wellness. How we feel in our heart has to do with how we're going to feel in the world. We all know, like, our heart is one of those organs that can actually break. And when your heart breaks, you feel sick, you feel really unwell. So imbalances can show up in your heart chakra as being overly defensive, feel closed down, grieving, anger, jealousy or fear of intimacy, codependency, always being the savior or rescuer, always being the victim, extensive isolation, being reclusive and antisocial, and then holding grudges, not being able to forgive. You're going to see imbalances in your thymus as, so again, our thymus is active only until puberty. So the best way to support the thymus is to support the T cells and boost the immune system, which we know the oils can help us do. A low thymus function not only compromises the immune system, but also increases our attraction to negative energy and junk food. And we kind of know this to be true, right? We get into those patterns where we are feeling crappy, feeling negative, and then all of a sudden we're eating a ton of junk food, which makes us feel even crappier and even more negative. And it's this like vicious cycle that it's really hard to break out of. So during those times, you can really help to boost your energy level by boosting your immune system. So all of the things that are going to help you boost your immune system, you can use those during these times, and it'll help you change your negative energy. So the supportive oils for your fourth chakra are thyme, the oil of releasing and forgiving. Releasing and forgiving is so good for our hearts. And it will help to keep our heart open instead of closed down. When we cannot forgive someone, it definitely shuts down our heart and impairs our ability to really take in life. Bergamot is our oil of self-acceptance. Blue tansy is the oil of inspired action. On Guard is the protective blend. It really helps to boost our immune system. Clove is our oil of boundaries. So boundaries for our heart, very important. Melaleuca is the oil of energetic boundaries. So lots of boundary work around the heart chakra. Myrrh is the oil of mother. And I think that definitely, mother is where we learn about love. Oregano is the oil of humility and non-attachment. Eucalyptus is the oil of wellness. Melissa is the oil of light and incredible for your immune system. Rose is the oil of divine love and also really powerful for your immune system. Tangerine is the oil of cheer and creativity. Forgive is the renewing blend. And again, they did a study where they diffused all of the different emotions blends that doTERRA has. And they found that people felt the best overall when forgive was the oil that was diffusing. And I just was so taken by that, because I think our ability to forgive, it's not about the other person, it's about how it makes us feel. And when we can let go of that pain and that trauma and forgive the other person and let them go, it helps us to release the emotion and helps us to feel better. We feel more open, we feel more energized, we feel more high vibe. And then I made a Choose Love blend, which is rose, helichrysum, bergamot, and cedarwood. So moving on to our throat chakra, which is the Vishuddha. It's connected to the thyroid. Functions of the Vishuddha are expression, in particular, our ability to express our truth and speak out. Communication, whether it's verbal or nonverbal. Connection with the etheric realm, the more subtle realms of spirit and intuitive abilities. The propensity to create, projecting ideas and blueprints into reality. You can realize, it helps you to realize your vocation and your purpose. Good sense of timing. You're able to fully listen and speak clearly. Our thyroid stores and produces hormones that stimulate every other organ in the body. It's responsible for metabolism of all our cells, controlled by our pituitary and hypothalamus, helps control blood calcium levels, controls metabolic rate, digestive system function of the heart and brain development. So the thyroid is definitely, and our heart, or our ability to communicate as well. Our thyroid communicates with every single other gland in our body. And usually if people say that they have a thyroid imbalance, I can usually point to other imbalances that they're having as well. Because the thyroid doesn't just work by itself, and communication isn't something that you can do just by yourself. So both of these things are a means of communication, or a means of connection. Imbalances are going to show up as a lack of control over your speech, speaking too much or inappropriately, lacking a filter, not being able to listen to others, or you have an excessive fear of speaking, a small imperceptible voice. You're not able to keep secrets or to keep your word. You tell lies. You fear judgment from others. You have secretive or shyness, a lack of connection with your vocation or purpose in life. And again, these don't have to be things that you feel like you're expressing directly, but if this is what you find is happening in your relationships with other people, it's definitely something to look at in terms of this imbalance. Your thyroid imbalance is going to look like feeling tired, requiring excessive amounts of sleep to function properly. You feel cold, weight gain even with restricted calorie diet, difficult infrequent bowel movements, depression or lack of motivation, morning headache that wears off as the day progresses, outer third of your eyebrow is thin, you have thinning of hair on your scalp or excessive hair falling out, dry skin, and mental sluggishness. So again, you can kind of see how these two relate to each other. Although I think having a little checklist can really help too, to say, oh, definitely my thyroid is out of balance, and I've been really having a hard time connecting to my voice, to my true self, and being able to speak my truth. So supportive oils. And again, you can just rub the oils directly over your neck, or you can diffuse them. Myrrh is the oil of Mother Earth. Lemongrass is the oil of cleansing. Frankincense is the oil of truth. DDR prime, the oil of transformation. Clove is the oil of boundaries. Peppermint is the oil of a buoyant heart. Spearmint, oil of confident speech. Marjoram, oil of connection. Lavender, oil of communication and calm. Blue tansy, oil of inspired action. And peace, love, and F-bombs was created for a friend of mine, and it's lavender, spearmint, black pepper, frank, and myrrh. And when I first started with doTERRA and with essential oils, I actually had a huge aversion to lavender. And I think a lot of it had to do with the qualities of lavender oil that I was being exposed to, but I did not care for lavender. And so it actually kept me away from trying essential oils for about a year. So I was like, I break out in hives. I can't stop sneezing. I have a huge allergy to lavender, and I will get sick for several days. My eyes will swell shut. It's bad. So once I found doTERRA, I started using the other oils and still staying away from lavender. And finally, I knew that the oils had an emotional component to them. And finally, I was like, okay, what's the deal with lavender? And my friend sent me the description of oil of communication. And I burst into tears because definitely my throat chakra is the one that gets the most out of balance, and it's the one I struggle with the most. And everything that came up with that oil was stuff that I needed to work on. So since then, I've used lavender a lot more, and it's definitely helped my communication. And then the other oils on this list are all picked because they are huge for helping to support your thyroid. I have a friend who has a thyroid imbalance and was taking some synthetic thyroid and started taking clove instead. And she was able to get rid of her synthetic thyroid medication. So clove is really, really powerful, as are all of the oils on this list for helping to support your thyroid. So again, you can look at where your imbalances are. If they're more heavily in the endocrine system and in the glands, we can talk about what the best protocol for that physically would be, but you can also really just look at the emotions that come up and see what's happening on the chakra side of it and see if those oils correspond, and then use those oils to in connection to the thyroid. Oh, and the peace blend is also very powerful for thyroid support. Third eye chakra, your ajna, your pineal gland. The functions of the ajna, your third eye, are to relate to the supreme element, the combination of all the elements in their pure form. Vision governs your intuition, perception of subtle dimension and movements of energy. Psychic abilities related to clairvoyance and clairaudience. Access to mystical states and illumination. Connection to wisdom and insight. Motivates inspiration and creativity. And allows you to cut through illusions and drama to see the clear picture. Your pineal gland functions as it releases melatonin, which is responsible for metabolism, sexual development, and for regulating other hormones in the body. It regulates our daily and seasonal circadian rhythms. That's going to be the melatonin. Influences the hypothalamus, which is a region of the brain that's involved in hunger, sleep, and emotional activity. Basically, our hypothalamus is the part of the brain that kind of controls the rest of the endocrine system. So the hypothalamus is kind of, if you look at them all as a team, the hypothalamus is the coach, and he's telling the players what to do and where to go. Serotonin, which is happy juice, is transformed into melatonin only in the pineal gland. And the pineal glands may produce small amounts of dimethyltryptamine, which is a powerful psychedelic. So I think people get, that's where the people who get really into meditation and connecting to those higher realms kind of get carried away with it, because it does release these powerful chemicals in our body. So our third eye, imbalances in the third eye can look like feeling stuck in the daily grind without being able to look beyond your problems and to set a guiding vision for yourself. So if you just feel like you're doing the same thing every day, day in, day out, you can't get past that, definitely look at connecting a little bit more into your third eye. You're more judgmental, introverted, and dismissive, trouble accessing your intuition. It's hard to access your inner voice. Like if you do a meditation, it's really hard to connect to that inner guidance, or you don't trust that intuition that comes up inside of you. You have trouble recalling facts, not able to establish a vision for yourself and realize it, rejection of everything spiritual or beyond the usual, not being able to see the greater picture, or you have a lack of clarity. Your pineal gland imbalances are going to look like a melatonin deficiency. It's going to be poor sleep. So if you have insomnia, immune system disorders, headaches, skin rashes, photosensitivity, neuralgia, senility, epilepsy, varicose veins, and blood vessel problems, increased anxiety, increased level of estrogen and progesterone levels, as well as a decreased basal temperature. So the pineal gland is going to have an effect on the whole rest of your endocrine system. If you have an overproduction of melatonin, low blood pressure, decreased levels of estrogen and progesterone, poor function of adrenal and thyroid gland. So again, getting that melatonin in balance, not overproducing and not underproducing is really important. And then you will have a seasonal affective disorder can be a result of the pineal glands being compromised. So I found when I was doing this research that other ways that you can really help to stimulate the pineal gland is that you can either meditate in complete darkness, really concentrating on that third eye, and really connecting into relaxation and finding that peacefulness. They recommend sleeping in complete darkness, just again to support the melatonin levels. Or on the other hand, you can meditate and really concentrate on the bright sun coming right into your third eye. So again, that will kind of help to stimulate and balance the melatonin production. So supportive oils for our pineal gland are serenity, the oil of tranquility, bergamot, cedarwood is the oil of community, frankincense is the oil of truth, sandalwood is the oil of sacred devotion, arborvitae is the oil of divine grace, helichrysum is the oil for pain, lavender oil of communication, immortelle is the oil of spiritual insight, balance is the oil of grounding, basil is the oil of renewal, endocrine oil of vitality and transition, and the Choose Love blend, which is rose, bergamot, cedarwood, and helichrysum. And bergamot is the oil of self-love and self-acceptance. So again, you can kind of look at what's going on and why this chakra or gland may be out of balance and connect to the oils that have to do with your feelings and emotions about this. Last chakra is our crown chakra, our Sahasrara, and it's connected to our pituitary gland and our hypothalamus. So again, these are kind of, if we look at our endocrine system as a team of some sort, the pituitary and the hypothalamus are the coach. And they're telling the players what to do, where to go, what hormones to produce, etc. They influence everything. And then our crown chakra, well, we'll talk about it. It's pure consciousness. It's the center of enlightenment. It's our spiritual connection to the divine, including our higher selves. Pure awareness of higher consciousness, wisdom, and what is sacred. Connection with the formless and the limitless. Realization and liberation from limiting power patterns. It's a communion with higher states of consciousness, ecstasy and bliss, and presence. So it's definitely, I think, what we're all kind of striving for, right, is this connection to the divine, where we still have a really good balance with our physicality and our physical self. Our pituitary and hypothalamus functions as the master gland of the hormone system, secretes hormones that regulate the function of the thyroid, adrenals, and ovaries, controls your metabolism, reproduction, growth, and blood pressure. So again, it influences everything, as does our connection to the divine. So crown chakra, this is an artist's rendition of what that looks like. Imbalances look like being disconnected from spirit, constant cynicism regarding what is sacred, feelings of isolation or emotional distress. If we're not able to connect to our higher power, to a sense of divine, then we're going to feel very, very isolated. An overactive crown chakra could manifest as disconnection with the body. So the other feeling is not as being so connected with the higher power that you forget that you have a physical body, and you start to sort of deny that or look down upon our physical body. And both of those things really need to be in balance. If you live in your head, again, disconnected from your body and earthly matters, you have an excessive attachment to spiritual matters and closed-mindedness. So I think we've all met those people who seem very spiritual, and you would think, you know, with that connection to the divine, that they'd be really open-minded, and they're not. They tell you how wrong you are and how whatever. I actually studied with a yoga teacher, and his whole thing was on being non-judgmental, and he judged us the entire class. Like his whole class was based on how much he was judging us. And I just thought it was so interesting that he could connect into that feeling of non-judgment and then teach a class from a place of being in judgment the entire time. Our pituitary and hypothalamus, an imbalance is going to look like, this is a little tricky, right? Because it looks like everything. Slow heart rate, low body temperature, increased appetite and rapid weight gain, extreme thirst, frequent urination, obesity, adrenal insufficiency, cluster headaches, brain tumors, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, growth hormone deficiency. So again, because they balance all of the other endocrine systems, if you are having endocrine system failure, you might look at the pituitary and see what you can do just to boost the pituitary and hypothalamus function. And then hypopituitarianism. So this is going to be low pituitary function. It's going to look like fatigue, decreased appetite, weight loss, sensitivity or intolerance to cold, decreased tolerance to exercise, decreased sex drive, infertility, facial puffiness, anemia, hot flashes, irregular or no periods, loss of pubic hair, inability to produce breast milk, diminished muscle mass and bone mineral density, and short stature in children. So again, these imbalances can definitely look like they're occurring within other systems in the body. So supportive oils for our crown chakra are cedarwood, the oil of community. So we talked again about how if you're feeling disconnected, you're not going to be able to really form a community. Frankincense is the oil of truth. So again, I think you've seen frankincense come up on almost every single one of these. Frankincense is an amazing oil that helps to balance all of it. Myrrh is the oil of Mother Earth. Geranium is the oil of love and trust. Sandalwood is the oil of sacred devotion. Ylang ylang is the oil of the inner child. Patchouli is the oil of physicality. DDR prime is the oil of transformation. DDR prime has come up on a couple of these, and I just want to say that usually DDR prime is actually used internally. It comes either in a soft gel that you can just take daily internally, or it comes in an oil. And I generally don't use that one in any other way. I don't diffuse that one. It's kind of stinky, and I don't use it topically because it has some wild orange in it, which can be photosensitive, and I haven't found to have the best results with it in any other way than taking it internally. But it's really, really powerful internally. Siberian fir is the oil of aging and perspective. Intune is the oil of presence. Arbor Vitae is the oil of divine grace. And then Console Blend is also really helpful for connecting us to our crown chakra. So again, you can sort of look at the imbalances you have and look at the emotions that come up around it. So your crown chakra is right at the top of your head. Your pituitary and hypothalamus are also inside of your brain. So using these oils topically is a little bit challenging, but you can definitely put the oils at the base of the skull, and they'll have access into the brain, and they'll be able, again, to connect and pass through that blood-brain barrier. So they'll be able to provide more oxygen to the brain and to support those organs and those glands. You could also just put a drop directly on the top of your head, or you could put it on your third eye. So I think everyone who's watching is already really familiar with doTERRA oils, but if you're not, those are the only ones I really talk about, especially when I'm talking about ingesting oils. I really connect to the company, their mission, and they have private contracts, exclusive contracts with 86% of their producers. So when people say that they're getting the exact same oils as doTERRA, they're not. There's no possible way they could be. They've sourced them indigenously, so they go around the world, and they have a mission to really help the people who are producing the oils and bringing them to us. And they want to do it in a sustainable way. It's definitely the company I've connected with that I feel is matching with my ethics and morality, as well as having a really high quality oil. So I mentioned that I was really skeptical of essential oils because I'd been exposed to some that had a lot of synthetics, and I had horrible reactions to them. So doTERRA is one that I've never had any kind of allergic reaction to, and it's the one I recommend above all the other companies. So how do you get some? If you don't already have some, you can buy them retail. You can enroll with a wholesale membership, which is $35 for the year, and you'll get 25% off of all your doTERRA purchases for that year. Or you can enroll with a kit, and we have several available. The one I sort of posted is the Emotional Aromatherapy Diffused Kit. You get this beautiful diffuser that diffuses for 8 hours at a time. And then the Motivate, Cheer, Passion, Forgive, Console, and Peace. So that's 6 of your chakras that are covered. And it costs $195, but you get your membership for free. So this is one of the ones that I would recommend. There's others as well. So if you're interested in getting a kit, let me know, and we can talk about which kit would be best for you. And what else do you get? So this month with a 100 PV order, you get 50 points for free products. That is good through the end of April. You get a 400-page reference book or an emotions book, your choice, valued at $35. So all of the emotions that I put on the side of the oils come from this Emotions and Essential Oils book. So if you're interested in learning more about how that oil connects emotionally and why it connects to the different emotions, let me know. This is an amazing reference book to have. And then the other one is the Essential Life. And this one connects you to all things physical that the oils can do. So having the 2 of these books, I look at them every single day, just because, again, we are such full, balanced bodies. We need to address physical issues as well as emotional issues, and they all connect anyway. You get a wellness consult with me that is valued at $50. You get it for free. And we'll just talk about what your goals are, what you're looking to do with the oils, and we'll set you up on a protocol that's going to give you the best results. You get a free customized chakra blend. So for those of you who already have an account and we haven't done this yet, just call me or message me and we'll figure out how to get your own signature blend. And it's $185 value. So again, that kit we talked about was $195. You get on top of that $185 in value. So, you know, kind of a buy one, get one, I guess. Anyway, thank you guys for coming. You can contact me via Facebook Messenger at Mindful Essentials or at Kestrel Bishop. You can give me a call at, I'm on Facebook Live, so I don't know if I'm going to give my number out over Facebook Live, but send me a private message and I will give you my number if you'd like to connect on the phone. Or you can email me at kestrel@mindfulessentials.com. So that's what I have for you guys. Eva, do you have any questions or anything you want to say? Okay. Thanks for coming. I managed to record it this time. Woot, woot. So I can share it with everyone who wasn't here this time. And I'm happy to send out the PowerPoint if you guys are interested in it. Again, if you have any questions, just connect with me. I am happy to talk chakras and endocrine system and oils anytime. I love you guys.